Good morning. I'm happy to see you here on your mat. And today we're going to work on some postures that lead us in a long journey towards Hanumanasana, which is the splits, basically. And so the last time I did the splits was about, I don't know, 73 or 4 years ago. It was 63 or 4 years ago. Anyway, I think it was about 8. So we will not arrive at the splits today, but we're going to do all kinds of postures that do 3 things. They open up the hip flexors. They develop sort of balance in your pelvis, and they extend your hamstrings ever so gently. And the project really is to work very carefully in all of these. And the principle that we're interested in today is, where is it now? Abhyasa. Well, there are actually 2 principles. One is Abhyasa, which is diligent focus practice, effort, willpower. And Swami Krishnananda interprets the Sutra 113 as Abhyasa, or practice, is the effort to fix oneself in a given attitude. So the point is that every morning when we get up and do yoga, or every afternoon, we are focused on our practice. There's a beautiful quote I'm reading from the Path of the Yoga Sutras by Nikolai Bachman, which is a really good introduction. It's very accessible. So this is by Chinese writer Sheng Yen, or maybe, anyway, I don't know who, but I think it's maybe Chinese. And he writes, "Be soft in your practice. Think of the method as a fine silvery stream, not a raging waterfall. Follow the stream, have faith in its course. It will go on its way, meandering here, trickling there. It will find the grooves, the cracks, the crevices. Just follow it. Never let it out of your sight. It will take you." Now, yoga always really operates around opposition. So as well as this focused practice, we also need to think about Vairagya, which is non-attachment or letting go. So while we're focusing on something and we have a disciplined practice, we're also letting go of it's basically a principle of non-attachment. So our habits are kind of addiction forming, and we tend to gather all kinds of attachments. So the point of one of the points of yoga is to develop opportunities to let go of those attachments. So it's both focused and detached. So I like those contradictory principles. They make yoga more wonderfly interesting. So today we're going to need a strap and also some blocks. And if we have a strap that's long, we can make a very big loop in it. We don't have to do this, but if we have one, it's handy. Because we're going to do some variations. So first of all, we're going to do Sutra Pandangusthasana, which is laying on your back, and we're going to lift our leg up. And you need to have a bit of space here. And so you put I put mine on the ball of my foot, and then I don't point my foot. I sort of push out with the ball of my foot here. And you can start with your leg up and your extended leg down, and you can lift your leg up this way, or and you have your head down, of course. or you can extend it out. And we're just going to rest here for a while. Now, if you have a long loop, I don't know whether this is long enough, it's probably not long enough, but I like this idea of doing this, but yeah, so you have to be able to extend your leg up and you have to have a long loop, but this is kind of an interesting way to do this posture if you have a long looped belt. If not, you can just hold on to the strap. Now, if you're more advanced, you can hold on to your toe and try and keep your shoulders down. I'm just going to hold it straight up like this. And the point here is to rotate your hips, your hip out a little bit. You want to keep your pelvis as balanced as possible. You want to keep both hips on the ground, both buttocks on the ground, and you reach up. So we're just going to rest here for a few moments, and we're going to just do some inhalations and exhalations. And one of the things when we're on the ground, it's important to keep our shoulders open and our shoulder blades moving down the back. Okay, so we're just going to inhale here, exhale, inhale, always pressing up through the ball of our foot and keeping our legs straight. And we can extend out the heel of the foot on the ground. And now we're going to open this to the side, and it doesn't have to be very far. And once again, you can bend your leg that's on the ground. And we're just going to extend it out to where it's comfortable. And we're just going to breathe here a few times. And once again, back to the top. And we can put our strap in the opposite hand to the foot that's raised, and we can extend it out to the side. And I would just keep both of your hips on the ground. We're not extending very far. It's just a little bit of a twist here. And once again, we feel, you can put your hand in the crease of your hip, and you can extend your waist long, so that you're maintaining you're not rolling over on your hip. And now we're going to go back to the top, and we're going to lower our leg, and we're going to do the other side. So once again, put it in your. I'm going to put it in on the ball of my foot, and I'm going to, once again, you can have your knee bent, you can extend it out. And the other beautiful thing about our body is that they're not really symmetrical. So you'll notice that there's a difference between the right and the left. And so you have to attend to your own body. You are your own body's teacher, and you'll need to know your own limits. And we're just going to inhale and exhale here for a few moments. Once again, extending out the ball of the foot. And on the leg on the ground, you want to extend out the heel. Now we're going to open up the leg. You can extend your opposite arm straight out to give you a bit of balance. Inhaling and exhaling. And then we're going to come back up. And we're going to put it in the opposite hand. And we're going to make sure that our waist is extended here. And we're just going to cross it over. It doesn't have to go over very far. But we're extending here. Okay, and now we're going to come up, and we're going to bend our knee and put it on the ground. And then we're just going to extend our arms straight up above us and our feet out. We're going to point our toes. We're going to turn our ankles round and round, point our toes, and then extend our heels so that we're on the ground, liberating our ankles a bit. Okay, now you can sit up, you can turn over to the side and sit up. We're going to do some extensions here. We're just going to extend our right leg out and put our left leg into our inner thigh. Turn towards the right leg and extend up. So we're just sitting, and we're sitting, we can draw the flesh of our buttocks behind us and extend up. So we're sitting on our sits bones. And we can raise our arms up overhead, or you can give yourself a hug, or you can just sit with your hands in your lap. We're just inhaling and exhaling here. And we're going to fold over. We're just going to put our hands on our shins, and with a straight back, we're twisting slightly towards our foot here. And we're going to move with a straight back, as straight as we can manage for a moment. We're going to just sit here. We can grab onto our toes. Once again, you can use your belt, and you can use your elbows to help you get a little bit of traction if you want to go lower. But the point of it is just to relax into this, really, and try and keep your spine straight. Your head is aligned with your spine. And then we're going to round over, and we can just drop down and hold wherever we can manage. So it might be that you're up here. That's fine, no problem. We are our own teacher. Now we're going to come up, and we're going to work with the leg. So we're going to extend our left leg out, whichever one is the opposite of the one you did. Put our right foot inside our inner left thigh, and we're going to twist at the hips here. We're going to face our toe here, so it's a slight twist. And once again, we can hold on to our toe, our shin. We can use a strap. And we're just going to breathe here for a few moments. Lift the flesh of the hip, of the buttocks up, if you like. And we're going to hold on to our toes or our shins, and we're going to just fold over. We can arch our back up into a bit of a cat pose and just fall over the leg. Breathing, inhaling and exhaling. And when we're doing this, we need to make sure that we're not putting too much effort into it, because there's really no point in really working hard to stretch your muscles, because they resist. So you have to let go, and then deepen your pose and let go. It's like waves of a sea. So you're not overextending anything. You don't want to do anything to harm your hamstrings or the tendons at the top of your hamstrings. And then we're going to come up here. Okay. And we're just going to turn and face the long edge of our mat. And we're going to put our legs out, extend them out as much as we can. It doesn't have to be. And once again, we're just going to sit up on our sits bones and extend forward from the hips. So it's just a little rotation here. So we're just extending forward. It doesn't have to be that far. And you can hold onto your toes if you like, or whatever it is you can manage. And we're just breathing here, inhaling and exhaling, and feeling that diligent focus that is the practice of yoga. And also the letting go. We're letting go because we're focusing here on our breath. We're letting go of our attachment to our everyday obsessions and concerns and objects. Okay, and you can turn once again to the one side. I'm going to the right this time. So I'm turning my whole body, my torso to face the foot. And I'm just going to use my belt here to keep my spine straight. And I'm going to hold over it. Now I'm going to round my back and just let go. Relax into it. All the time inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. And then over to the other side. We're turning our body towards the other side, wrapping the belt around the arch of our foot or the ball of our foot, and we are inching forward here. Make sure that we've turned towards our foot here. And you can put your left hand, if you're working with your left arm, left hand, foot extended, your left hand down. It gives you a little bit of a lift here, because the point is to keep going up as well as over. So we're not, at this point, this is an early point in the posture, where our object is to try and keep our spine straight. You can hold on to the inside or the outside of your foot or the belt, and feel yourself extending down a little bit. And now we can just relax over our foot and round our back and sit here for a minute. We're keeping our other foot extended, and we're trying to keep both of our buttocks on the ground. That's quite tricky, actually. And now we're going to come up, and we'll put our feet together here just for a moment in butterfly, and give ourselves a little bit of a rest here. So we can sit with our back straight, and we can flap our wings a little bit gently. And once again, and then we can fold over our feet here. And now we're going to come up. Okay. So we're going to right now, we're going to stand up in Tadasana. And we're going to work on rotating our hips, because when you do monkey pose, you have to be able to rotate your hips in the joint. So when you're standing in Tadasana, like I am, pulling out my pants, you'll want to spread your toes. You can, whatever feels comfortable. You can put your toes together if you like, or you can maintain a bit of space. And I want you just to lift up your heels and circulate them. So you're turning from your hips, okay? You're not, your you're actually rotating from your hips. So we can move out, we can rock back a little bit onto our heels, and then rotate from the hips. And once again, we're going to rotate from the hips here and turn our feet out. And then we're going to rotate back so that our knees are facing in the same direction as our toes. And once again, we're going to do this again. And we're going to rock back on our heels and turn our feet in. Rock back on our heels, turn our feet out. Rock back on our heels, turn our feet in. Rock back and turn our feet out. Good. All right, now we're just going to stand in Tadasana. We're going to do a few variations on the sun salutation. So we're going to stand at the front. Inhale, raise our arms up, look up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, a bit of a back bend, forward fold. And we're going to extend one leg out behind us and drop our knee down into a low lunge, and we can lift our toes up. And we're going to raise our arms up and inhale. And then we're just going to stay here for a moment. Now, if we can, one of the things we can do, and this is very good for our hip flexors, which you need in Hanumanasana, is you can lift your foot up, oops, it's quite tricky, and give yourself a little bit of an extension, oops, of the hip flexor. Now, it's easier to do this if you use a block. So let's get several blocks here. And let's just make sure that your foot is over top of your ankle. You want to feel an extension in your hip flexor in the front of your hip. And you can just lift this leg up and down. Now you might want to put something underneath it. I use I have this little gardening rubber thing that I put under my knees when it gets really cranky. And then you can lift your knee up and set it down. 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 Okay, now if you're really brave, you can lift your knee up and reach back and hold on to it. There. And you can keep the block there, which I think I'll do. Or you could take your hand away. Okay, so that's that. Now we're going to put our blocks down, away memories of the garden, and just step back into a plank pose. And we're going to just rest here for a moment. Okay, and now we're going to come down, chaturanga, or knees, chest, chin, and then come up into a cobra, or if you like, you can come up into an upward facing dog. Here we'll turn our toes under, extend through our heels, and make sure that our chest is facing forward and basically reaching for the stars. Okay, now we're going to hinge at our hips and move back into downward dog, which is a very good preparation for the monkey pose. And we're going to reach up with our heels, and then we're going to pedal our feet for a moment here. All the time we're here, we're going to make sure that our shoulders, our upper arms are rotating out, and our hands are like suction cups, really pressing into the floor. And we're pushing in our shoulders are rotating out of the, and our upper arms are rotating out. Our lower arms are actually rotating in, if you can imagine. These are all quite metaphoric for me because it's hard to imagine my arm moving in two directions at once. But if I keep attending to it, it helps. And we're going to raise our right leg up. And, oops, sorry, we're going to raise our left leg up. And then we're going to move our foot, our left foot, between our hands and lower our right knee. We're going to come up and inhale. And then we're going to lower our arms. And we're going to do the same nasty pose that we did on the other side. And, oh, I guess I did it the wrong way. Okay, so I think I have you doing it the same way twice. So I'm just going to change my knees and push my right foot into the ground here in the front. And I'm going to lift this knee up. Well, I've got to get my blocks back so I don't fall over. And I'm going to lift my left leg up. Now this is much more pinchy than the other side. So you can just lift your leg up, lower it down, lift your leg up, your foot up, lower it down. All the time you're feeling this extension, you're feeling your back is, your chest is raised, and you're just lifting the back leg up. Now, if you're very ambitious, you can reach around, oops, and grab onto your foot, which is a bit of an effort. And then extend up. And so I think you can compress your foot out, and that really gives you, oops, a really great shoulder extension. But anyway. Okay, here we go. Try it one more time. This is really a lot of effort. Okay, here we go. And there. Now I'm trying to rotate towards the front, and I'm actually extending a little bit out of my foot to give my shoulder a bit of a stretch, and then you can let it down. Now we're going to come back here into a posture which is, I think this is called half monkey pose. You can lift your foot up, extending your front leg out straight, and then you can lean forward and stretch out. Then you can go back, come back. There we go. And you can extend over your leg. With your spine, you can use your hands to support you, or you could use blocks. And then you're going to come forward and stretch out. We're going to come back again. And then we're going to go forward. Now I think this leg should actually be a little bit further back, so you can make it go further back here. There we go. So this is 90 degrees. And we can just rock back and forth here for a while. Feeling both the focus and the ease. So we're up straight, and then we're going to extend over top of our legs, or however much we can. And then we're up straight here in our low lunge, and then we're going to come back. Okay, now we're going to change feet here. If we come back into tabletop, we'll do tabletop for a minute. We'll do cat and cow for a moment, just to give ourselves a little bit of a break. So here we are with our upper body, attending to it, curving into our cat, and extending our chest forward in our cow, curving into our cat, extending forward into our bow. So we're exhaling here and inhaling when we open up the chest. Exhaling and inhaling when we open up the chest. Okay, now we're going to extend our right leg forward so that it's 90 degrees here. And we can put something underneath our other knee if we like. And we're going to sit up on our knee. And then we're going to pull this left hip back and lift our foot up, extending out through the heel. And we can extend up forward a bit. We can stay here in this pose for a moment. And then we can shift forward. And you can see what we're doing here. We are extending our hip flexors here. And here, we're extending our hamstrings on the back of the left leg. So this is quite a lovely posture that does two of the things that we need to do the monkey pose, extending our hip flexors and exercising our hamstrings. Now, all the time we want to feel pleasure in the body, not too much pain. Pain is not that useful a motivator. We want to feel how rocking forward is a bit like child's play. We're moving back and forth. Good. Now here, now that we're here, we can go into lizard pose if we like. Now so that's just moving our hands to the inside of our feet. And if you can lower down onto your forearms. If you can't do that, just stay up here and just maintain your position here. Okay, so we're just going to lower down for a moment into the lizard pose. And it's a bit awkward and it doesn't feels odd actually. But the more you do it, the less odd it will feel. Good. So that's lizard pose. And then we're going to come up onto our hands. We're going to shift our leg, our front leg, over into pigeon pose. So we're going to, it can be 45 degrees. It's easier, the closer your heel is to your pelvis, the easier this posture is. So if you're finding it really difficult, move your shin, your foot towards your pelvis, your front foot towards your pelvis. Otherwise, you can try and extend it out 45 degrees. And you'll want to slide your back leg back until it's flat on the ground. And extending your foot out, make sure that you can look back, make sure that your foot isn't sickled, that your the front part of your foot is on the floor. And this is a really good opening in your body. It's very good for your hip flexors. It's a lovely antidote to hamstring extensions like downward dog, because the front hip is moving in all kinds of interesting directions. Okay, we're just going to stay here. Now, if you feel like it, you can stay here. You could use blocks to give you some support. You could put blocks underneath your back thigh, or you can try and extend forward and just feel yourself moving over the front of your front foot. Keep your front heel extending. This helps you not torque your knee, so that's quite important. Don't point your front foot. Keep the heel extending. And then we're going to come back up, and we're going to work on the other side. So let's switch that foot back and we're on our hands and knees now, and you can go back into child's pose and rest here for a moment. You can have your hands extended forward, or you can move them back towards your feet and just rest. We're going to inhale and exhale, and inhale and exhale, inhale and exhale. And we're going to work on our right foot forward, and we're going to lower down into our lizard pose with the right. So once again, this is 90 degrees. You can feel your hip flexor here extending, and your foot is flat on the ground. It shouldn't be sickled. And we're going to move down onto our forearms if we can. Once again, you can use blocks, or my right hip is actually, I'm pushing down into my foot so that my right hip doesn't twist too much. And that's the lizard. Once again, we can come up, and we're going to bend our knee, put our the side of our shin on the ground, our calf, and once again, you can keep your foot this way. That's the more demanding, or you can move it down so it's less demanding. And once again, you're going to keep your hip flexor extending here, and you can keep your chest forward here in the upright pigeon, or you can extend down to your forearms, and then if you can go forward onto your arms or stretch out. You want to breathe here wherever you are. If you're up or down, you want to just inhale and exhale and really feel that active engagement and attitude. And now I'm going to crawl back up and extend that leg out. Again, you could also, another variation would be to lift your leg up when you're in this pigeon. Oops, your back leg up. Okay, now I'm just going to scoot back into downward dog. Rest here for a moment. Then I'm going to raise my right leg up, and I'm going to bend my knee and bring it in towards my right elbow. And then I'm going to extend it back and bring it in towards my left elbow. And then I'm going to extend it back. And right knee in, and then I'm going to extend it back. Now I'm on my tippy toes. You don't have to be. I have a bit of a problem with this foot, so I try and extend my toes whenever I can. But you can put your foot down, of course, or you can raise it up and down. And then we're going to put our both our feet down. And down we go. We're going to raise our left leg up, and we're going to bend at the knee and bring it in to our left elbow, and then extend it back. Once again, I'm up on my tippy toes. You don't have to be. And then I'm going to extend it back. And forward, back, forward, and back, and both feet down. And then we can lower our heels. And the object of this is to make sure that your hands are pressing into the ground. Your upper arms and shoulders are rotating out. There's a lot of space there. And you imagine that your back is straight and your sitting bones are heading up towards the corner of the ceiling here. And we're just resting here for a few breaths. And now we're going to walk towards our hands and just rest in a forward fold. So this is these postures that we're doing that are working with our hip flexors and our hamstrings. This is a lovely passive kind of hamstring stretch. And we want to feel the energy moving up our legs here, so that it's as though we're pressing into our feet, the energy is moving up our legs. And we can hold on to dangle our hands in our elbows and just be suspended here for a moment. And we're inhaling and exhaling. If we want to, we can hold on to our ankles and use our elbows to help us move a little bit lower down. But once again, it's important not to overstrain your hamstrings. It takes time for them to release, and you don't want to injure yourself. And now we're going to come halfway up with a little bit of a back bend. And then we're going to descend down again, and then come up, and look up, inhaling, and then exhaling down. Now we can roll our shoulders around with our elbows out to give our shoulders a little bit of an extension, and we can move the other way. We can give ourselves an embrace. We can massage our upper arm and our shoulders with our hands. Give us a little self-care. And then with the other arm on top, we can do the same. There we go. All right, now we're going to just stand in Tadasana. And once again, we're going to feel that our hips are facing forward, our hips are facing forward. And we're just going to step back. And it's not as wide as the warrior pose, but this is a pyramid pose. And we're just going to hinge at the hips here and move down here. Okay, we're going to hang suspended over our front foot. And I'm just you can use blocks here to keep your back straight. Bend over, you can put it at whatever level suits you as you're extending over your front leg. And your energy should be balanced between your weight should be balanced between your front and back. You don't want everything in your front foot. You want some in your back foot. Your back foot, the toes are facing on the diagonal to the front corner of your mat. And this hip, your right hip, in my case, the front hip, you're rotating it back. It's really important to rotate it back. And once again, we're going to just rest here. Put your hands on the floor again, and you can just fall forward for a moment. And then straighten your back. Okay, we're going to inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, and the next inhalation, we're just going to lift up hips, and we're going to turn and rotate to the other side. And we're going to rotate over our hip. Once again, we're going to draw our front hip back and just descend with a pivot in your hip here. And once again, you can use blocks, which I probably need, because this hip is much more demanding than the other. So you want your back, there we go. So you can keep your back extended here. You can move down a little bit. You can go down to a lower level, whatever suits you. Or you can go down to the ground if that suits you. Once again, you want to feel your front hip exterior rotation in your front. It's moving back and around. You can even use your hand to give you a sense of what that feels like by putting your thumb in your hip crease and pulling it back. You'll feel the exterior rotation of your hip. And then you're going to tilt up and come back up. Good. Then turn towards the front, and you can move your feet in. Now, we're going to do standing postures here, which are really lovely. We're just going to move our feet wide enough for Warrior 2, and we're turning our one foot out, our other foot in, and we're just going to bend our front knee and extend our arms out. So you can figure out where to put your front foot, whatever feels comfortable. And you want to make sure that your arch isn't sinking in here or your knee isn't sinking in. You want to extend, this is exterior rotation here and here, both places. And then we're going to extend over the front knee. We're going to feel this. First of all, we're moving up and then we're moving out. And dropping our hand down to our elbow down to our knee, and our upper arm should be folded along our ear. And all the time we're feeling our beautiful chest moving towards the sun like a sunflower. We're just moving towards the ceiling. And you can look up, and that will maybe help your chest move. Once again, your front knee is moving back, your back leg is rotating up and back. And now we're going to shift up, and we're going to, with a straight leg, we're going to move into triangle pose. So once again, feeling your body extend up, and then a shift at the hip. And then you can just drop your arm down. You're moving and you're looking up at your hand. The drishti, or the focal point, is your hand, your upper hand. If this arm is too tired, you could put the flat of your back of your hand on your sacrum here, and that helps you to move your chest around to the ceiling. Or you can extend it up. And now we're going to just tilt up and move our legs to the other side. So once again, we're going to go into warrior pose and feel our bodies are with this double rotation here. Make sure that your knee is at 90 degrees, your back leg is straight, your back foot is facing in, your arches are lifted. They're what ignite the pose, as one of my teachers says. And you're going to lift your arms up. Then we're going to keep moving up, and we're just going to shift our hip here and drop our elbow down. And we can raise our arm up over our ear and feel that beautiful extension from the tips of our fingers to the heel of our foot. And once again, you can put the flat of your hand on the back, on your sacrum, the bottom of your spine, and use that to turn your chest and look up. And then you can raise your arm up again, if you like. And once again, we're going to lift up, have our front foot leg straight. You can wiggle the back one in if you need for your balance. And we're going to move forward into Trikonasana. Just feel this lovely hinge at the hip and extend, 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 extend out, and then drop your hand down and move your other arm up. Once again, I like doing this because it does allow me to really turn my chest a little bit. And you want to make sure your ribs aren't sticking out, that there's a thread between your lower ribs and your hip. And now we're going to tip up. And I think we'll rotate here. And you can put a block here, if you like. Here. And we're just going to, once again, we're going to move forward, stretch out, and then we're going to twist around here and see where we can go do this reverse triangle, which is quite difficult. So you can stay here, or you can raise your arm up. Once again, you feel this hip rotating back. It's a tricky posture. And once again, you can rotate back. And let's turn our feet the other way. Rotate around, extend out, and you can put your hand on the inside or the outside. I'm going to put it on the inside. Feel your hip turning here and your arm up and extend out. If you look back, your chest should be facing the back wall. And keep your knees straight. Make sure your back foot is facing in. Your toes are facing towards the front diagonal. And then we're going to rotate up, oops, and move our feet in. Okay, so that is a lot of preparation. And I think what we're going to do now is we're going to go back onto our back and just rest. So we'll do a forward fold here just to rest. And then we can move our feet out and sit down into Hanumanasana here. My Hanumanasana has its moments, but I'm just learning how to make it work. And I push my knees out with my upper arm to protect my knees. And I am sitting here fairly comfortably now, actually, after quite a bit of work. And now you can turn your knees, stand up, and turn your knees in and go back into a forward fold. And now I want you I'm just putting my one leg back, and I'm going to stretch out here and lay down for a little bit of cooling down. So I'm just going to bring my knees up into my chest and rock a little bit. I'm going to put my feet into the ground here. And this is a very good stretch in the front thighs. And it's a good counterpoint to a lot of the hamstring stretching exercises. So this is the bridge. And we're just going to tip our tailbone up. And then we're going to tip it down. Tip our tailbone up. And then we're going to tip it down. Tip our tailbone up. And we're going to reach our knees towards the opposite wall. And we're going to feel our pelvis rising. You can hold on to the edges of the mat. You can extend your arms underneath you and feel your pelvis rising up, your chest rising up, your knees moving towards the opposite wall. Your feet are planted, and the backs of your upper arms are in the ground, so you're really grounded very strongly here. It's quite a beautiful pose. And now we're just going to go right back down. And we're going to lift up one more time, tilt the pelvis up, extend your knees forward, and move your upper arms under your body. Feel the chest opening. And now we're going to vertebrae by vertebrae slowly come down. And lift our knees up again. You can do a happy baby, reach inside your legs, hold on to the outer edge of your feet, and really feel the liberatory stretch here after all of our efforts. Good, and now we're going to put our feet flat on the ground, or actually we'll put one leg over the other, and we're going to just rotate to the side of the bent knee of the on top, and just put that foot flat on the floor and extend your leg out. And we're going to come back. We're going to put our this little figure 4, bend your knee, drop your foot to the other side. It's a lovely twist, and you can look out to the other side of the room. Now, an alternative stretch is to lift your legs up, lift your knees up, and just drop both knees to one side and then to the other. Or you can lift your leg up, cross it over the other, and shift your hips to one side and drop your knees down and look towards the other way. This is my favorite stretch, but it isn't for everyone. And you can rotate your arm, and depending on your shoulder, you can move it up above the ground, or you can move it on the ground around like a clock. You can stop wherever your shoulder is sticky. Now we're moving up. We're going to change the cross of our legs, shift our hips to the other side, drop our legs down, and extend make sure both shoulders are on the ground. And we can use this arm as just a very gentle weight here. You don't have to do this, but you can. And once again, this shoulder, we can move it around this way. Where it's sticky, you can stop, say here at 1 o'clock. It's a bit sticky for me, or you can just keep on moving around. All right. And we're going to just shift our hips back, extend our legs out, or keep them bent if you like. You can go to a wall. You can put your feet up a wall if you like. Or you can lay your feet out. You could put a bolster or cushions underneath your upper thighs or your knees. Give yourself some rest. You shouldn't feel any strain in your body at all. This is really a posture of release. And we're just breathing into our lower chest, our back body, our middle, and our upper, and then we're exhaling all the way out. Breathing into our lower chest, our back body, our side body, our upper chest, and then we're exhaling all of the air out. We're inhaling and feeling our body expand with our breath, and release and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And I'm just going to be quiet for a few moments and let you release into your Shavasana, your final relaxation. And you can stay here for the duration of the morning or the day, if it suits you. Or when I speak to you again, you can come slowly out of it. But there'll be a few minutes of silence here. I'll just read you Sheng Yen's beautiful words about your practice. Be soft in your practice. Think of the method as a fine silvery stream, not a raging waterfall. Follow the stream. Have faith in its course. It will go on its own way, meandering here, trickling there. It will find the grooves, the cracks, the crevices. Just follow it. Never let it out of your sight. It will take you. And with that, you can wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, rotate your wrists, rotate your ankles, rotate them the other way. You can stretch your arms out above your head and stretch one way and then another. And then you can, in your own time, roll over to one side Bend your knees, and then push yourself up to sitting. Thank you for being here with me and joining me on the video recording or whenever. The teacher in me salutes and honors the teacher in you. The student in me salutes and honors the student in you. The light in me honors the light in you. Have a good day.